Hello everybody, my name is Jan Horlings and it's my great pleasure to announce to you the second round of deep funding. And deep funding is our grant program, the grant program of SingularityNET, where we want to award and support teams that like to build stuff that supports our decentralized AI platform. I will use this video to explain a little bit more about the rules and conditions of this round, because we learned a lot in the first round by analyzing the results and everything that happened, and also by our community governance round, which was followed on the first round, where we asked our community members to come up with proposals for improving on round one, targeted to round two, and that actually also created some new developments, which I will tell a lot about in a minute. So there are two things here. I will tell you a little bit about the 5 new pools that we have, and I will tell you a little bit about other rules related to the voting process that will change. But most important right now are these 5 new pools. So last time we only had 2 pools with different maximum amounts to be awarded per project. One for smaller projects and one for larger projects. This time our pool A, which to which $250,000 worth of HIX will be allocated, has no maximum. For the rest, it's similar to the old pools, in the sense that we would expect projects that would help support our platform by either using a service that is already available on the platform, or by having a project that includes building a service and onboarding it on the platform, a brand new service that is. Which brings me to the second pool. And the second pool actually is an outcome of our governance experiment, as we call it. Here we have $125,000 worth of AGIX allocated to existing services. So we would like our community members to go out and search for interesting AI services that would like to be onboarded on our platform. And we hope we can motivate community members and others and AI developers out there with a little bit of AGIX to go the extra mile. And the extra mile means for community members to search and allocate and contact these developers that have interesting AI services. For the AI developers themselves, it means that maybe they need to tweak their service a little bit, bring it up to date, or maybe it wasn't quite finished for production. So you could use part of that fund for those things. And finally, you can use the amount to onboard your service on the platform. Usually there's some effort related to that as well. And you can now use this fund either to do it yourself, there's good documentation on it, or to ask somebody else to do it for you. So this is probably the pool that I am most excited about. I think with this, even though it's only half of pool A with 125,000K, I think in principle we could leverage a lot of new services coming onto our platform with short lead times. That is what I would hope. And also, if this would be successful, then there are lots of similar things that we can do going forward. So I really hope, and I'm counting on you who are watching this video, that go out, see what you can find, and motivate these developers with support of HGIX to onboard the platform. Also here there's no maximum, because we thought about having a standard amount, but it might still be very different what each project will need. Some may be already completed, API ready, documented, etc., and only need to be onboarded, and other services maybe some more work still needs to be done before they can be onboarded. And also here in the end we'll leave it to the community to judge where the funds are best spent. If it's better to spend them on five existing services that are completely ready, only need to be onboarded, or maybe one service that is also existing but maybe not API ready and needs some more substantial work to be done. So all that is open. Also, this is an experiment. So yeah, it will be very interesting to see if this will get support and what kind of submissions and proposals we will be seeing. And based on that, we can adapt and grow this in a next round. So those are the two main rounds, general, new services and existing services. And then we have three, what I would call supporting rounds. The first one is also an outcome of our governance community experiment, which is a pool for ideation projects. So these are projects that are in the ideation phase, that are not quite ready for the documentation and to start as a full-fledged project. A reason can be that it's a person with a great idea, but somebody who still needs other roles in his team, a developer or a marketeer or whatever. It might also be used for teams that have a great idea but would like to have some more feedback from the community and some more information to know if they are the right track, and maybe help from the community to steer it in the right way and to get valuable input. So this pool is only $25,000 worth of AGIX. It's really meant as a nudge and a small push, and actually also as a way to get more visibility for your project and to get some sense how popular your project will be in a real next round. So one condition would be that if you submit something to this ideation pool, your goal must be to create it as a real project in the next round. We never know what will happen in practice, but that should be your clear goal. Also, here's no maximum amount, because we think that also here there might be some differences. So one thing you could use this pool for is to create more documentation, but you could also make technical specification, for instance, for your idea. But you could also use the pool to create some funding for market research, for instance. Or your primary goal, maybe you already have technical specification and market research, then you could use the pool to get more visibility and collect other roles and team members around the project that would like to support you in that. We do expect some deliverables. Just as in the regular rounds, we expect everything is milestone based. Also for the first two main rounds, we expect every team to come up with a number of milestones, and also the disbursements of these grants will be milestone based. I'll tell a little bit more about that later. So in the case of an ideation project, I would expect that to be something like a backlog with well-described user stories, or maybe it could be a UI UX interface for the project you are developing, or like I mentioned, it could be marketing research, or all of them. But remember, this is just more like a stimulation fund to get you to the next level. Then the next pool is also $25,000 worth of AGIX, so it's also a small pool, is dedicated to marketing initiative. This was already available in the previous round, but then it was wrapped in the total of pool A and pool B. And this time we made it into a special pool for two reasons. First of all, we hope that this way this purpose will get a little bit more visibility and maybe also motivate people to actually submit a proposal. And the other reason is that we can more easily limit the maximum amount that will be spent on that. It wouldn't be good if the whole amount of all pools would be spent just on marketing. But it would be very good if a small amount would be spent on just that goal. Here the rules would be, the guidelines would be that whatever you do for marketing somehow needs to be measurable. So we need to measure when you are successful. And this is a very broad pool. I can imagine a lot of things that could be done. But you have to convince the community that this will be a successful activity, that it will drive utility and usage of our AI platform, and do it in a way that we can award you based on the results. So one approach here would be, and this is a separate thing, here perhaps you could leave out the milestone-based approach if it would be a KPI-based approach. So suppose that you would send new developers to our platform and somehow this would be traceable. Then you can say with 10 new developers, I expect this amount of awards, and with 25 I expect this amount of awards, and with 100 I expect this amount of awards, and then it's up to the community if they think it's worthwhile. Those were 4 rounds. The last round is about tooling, and also this, similar as in the marketing pool, was already part of the rules and conditions of the previous round, the first round of deep funding. But for the same reasons, we are now isolating this into a dedicated pool. Here we allocate $75,000 worth of AGIX to the pool. Because if you want to make tooling, there's also always some substantial work related to that. I expect this round not to have that many submissions as pool A and as pool A and B, so that's why the total amount is a little bit lower. It's also not the first purpose; it's a supporting purpose of our platform. So we think it's well balanced with 75k worth of AGIX. So the idea of this pool would be to create tooling that will either help our deep funding process, or it will help the platform itself by creating new tooling or a new onboarding mechanism or something similar. It's up to you, and you can also be in touch with the team and with us if you're not sure if your idea is a good idea or if you want to have our insights. Specifically on this tooling part, I think it often makes sense to have some contact with the team behind deep funding and the team behind the platform development. So these are the 5 pools, 2 main pools, regular proposals, proposals for regular projects, I should say, a project for existing services, a small pool for projects in the ideation phase, a small pool for marketing projects, and a medium-sized tool for tooling that will support the platform or the deep funding process. I hope this will inspire you and will bring you some new ideas, and I'm really looking forward to your submission over the coming weeks. I also hope that you won't wait until the last day of the submission period, because you're missing out then, basically. You're missing out on valuable opportunities and feedback from the community. What we will do, we have a more or less 4 weeks period for submission. It will end at the 15th of January. That at least is what we're setting out today. It won't end before, that's sure. But 15th of January is our target. Then we will have 2 weeks of a stable period where no new submissions are accepted, but the community can still have some time to analyze and review and assess and give feedback on the services that were submitted. And in that same period, the proposers who submitted a proposal can still improve their submitted proposal. And then after that 2 weeks, we'll have 1 week where we will analyze the projects for eligibility. Are they following the rules? There are not really that many very strict rules, but maybe a project could be in a wrong pool, or maybe there isn't a service that they are actually using, or well, there could be some other reasons why they might not be eligible. So we'll use that 1 week for reviewing and assessing the projects, but also for preparing our voting portal with all the right proposals for the community to cast their votes, which will be done a week later. So if you're counting with me, by the time we get to voting, it will be the first half of February, and that's when we expect the votes to be done, and very closely after that the results coming in. So a few things on the voting process. We did this community governance experiment, and we called it an experiment for a number of reasons. We experimented with reputation. So we gave a rating to all community members that had some kind of interaction on the platform. So each interaction would give you points. So whether it's submitting a proposal, creating a comment, or reacting to a comment, all of these things could give you some rates. And based on that rates, we awarded people for their contributions, for their positive and constructive contributions. So in a total there was 100,000 AGIX distributed among those people that contributed to the conversation, basically. Which amounted, and it was done by ratio of the amount of points about their reputation, so basically based on the number of interactions and the quality of these interactions. And that meant that some community members out there were able to receive something like a little bit over 10,000 AGIX, and others got 1,500 AGIX. So I think that was worthwhile, and that's why we'll try to do it, or why we'll do the same thing again in this deep funding round. So we will use the same mechanism. We will also stick to the 100,000 AGIX. We hope that there will be more contributions and more people discussing and helping and interacting with the team. So based on that, it could be that the average reward might be a little bit lower, but that depends. That depends on you, to be precise. So really looking forward how that will pan out. We believe in reputation as a weighting mechanism and a rewarding mechanism. So we use it in this case for incentives, for giving you an award for all the time and effort that you're putting into this. We also use it for extra weights to votes. And remember that I talked about the pool that was dedicated to ideation. If we hadn't had reputation system that would give extra weight to votes, then probably we wouldn't have had this pool today. But because we gave extra weight to to the vote of community members that were really motivated and enthusiastic and did a lot of work on our portal, and we listened to them a little bit closer than we listened to the average voter, so, as a way of speaking. That meant that this was actually approved and is now part of Deep Funding Round 2. So this already has good impact. We will also do that in this deep funding round. So we will use the same metrics for counting and rating. We will keep the right. If we think that something is being gained, then we might take countermeasures against that. I have no doubt somewhere in the future that will happen. But if everything seems reasonably okay, then we plan to use the same metrics as we have today for deep funding. And that has another, for the governance round, and that has another effect. Quadratic voting. So in the first round of deep funding, you saw that there were a few wallets that had massive amount of tokens and therefore could influence the outcome very substantially. In reality, it was a little bit more nuanced than that in terms of the outcome, so there were no accidents, so to speak. But in this case, we want to use quadratic voting. So basically, we will use the square root of your wallet amount as your voting weight. Now, I hear some of you think that will imply that some people will engage in splitting their wallets. That might be the case, and that is where reputation comes in. So I would like to urge and ask everybody that is interacting with proposals on our portal to use the new Web3 login. You can log in with your wallet, and if that is the same wallet as you're using for voting on our platform, then we can connect the two, and then we will use the reputation that you gained on our portal to give you extra weight in the voting process. And this first round, we'll see, but how that will balance out, I strongly and firmly believe that over time, if we're a few rounds ahead, this will more than counter the effect of any potential wallet splitting, because we will just give more weights to people that are engaged. And the best way to make your vote count is to be active on the portal and at least have a wallet login. And even if you only had one comment, it will already give you extra weight. So this is still a little bit experimental, and we will analyze the results afterwards and see what we need to do to further improve this process. But you see, deep funding is about supporting the platform. But deep funding is in itself also a kind of experiment in governance. So we want strong community governance, and we want to develop tools and processes that make that possible, so that in the not too far away future, we can use all those learnings and insights and perhaps toolings that we create to give the community also more say in other parts related to SingularityNET. So that is another reason why we think this is so very much important. So quadratic voting in combination with reputation-based weights for voting, we think is a good balance, and that's what we will implement in the next round. One last thing for the next round: all our amounts are based on dollar value in AGIX. We have one safety mechanism. We will define a minimum exchange amount. That's a static amount which is artificial, of 3.5 cents, which is lower than it has ever been this year and much lower than it is today while I'm recording this video. The reason we are doing that is we want to protect our treasury for any sudden strange exceptions and downward movements. So worst case scenario is that some teams in some of their milestone payments will not get the full dollar amount that they were expecting. Should that happen, in those circumstances, of which I hope they will not happen, then we will be in touch with that team and we'll talk about how we can best solve this on a one-on-one basis and find a solution. So we could either bring down the scope of the project, or we could delay the payment until a later notice. We could make an agreement that maybe we could, well, there are maybe project-specific ways that we can handle that situation should it occur. Another thing related to this is what we're doing currently for the teams in round one, and what we will continue to do for those teams, is that we pay out on their milestones after they have delivered the result of that milestone. So if that milestone is I'll create a new UX UI for my AI service, then first they have to show it to us and then we will pay out. There were some questions about it in the beginning, and if we are now having this minimum exchange rate that we're planning, we decided to pay out each milestone in advance. It will still be milestone based, so you can't continue on the next milestone and get paid for that because before the former milestone has been finished. But at least for each single milestone, you are protected and you know for sure what your budget is. So with that, I think we have a very good balance between giving security to the teams that help develop for our platform, and also protecting our treasury, which we want to be sustainable and we want to keep using for many years to come. So I think that those are the main rules and conditions for round 2 of deep funding. So there's a lot of new stuff going on. There's still a lot of experimentation. So for me, it will still be just as exciting and maybe even more as round 1 of deep funding. And there are also plenty of opportunity for anyone in the community to get engaged. If you're a developer, obviously. But also if you are a passionate community member without development capabilities, there are still many opportunities for you. You can create a marketing proposal, or you can go out and find new services, existing services I should say, that can be onboarded on our project. And yeah, that would really be great to see some community members go out, finding and getting in touch of developers and motivating them to come to our platform, onboard their service, get a little bit of compensation for their efforts, and then afterwards be able to get proper payment for their services on the platform. That's it for now. More information can be found on deepfunding.ai. Also our proposals, the portal is proposals.deepfunding.ai. You can see the proposals that were awarded in the last round. You can see all detailed rules and guidelines. So please visit the site. Visit our social channels, Telegram or Discord, and you can get in touch with me or a colleague or a community member that can help you with any questions or remarks you might have. So I'm looking forward to all those interactions, whether related to a proposal on the portal or otherwise, and keep it coming, I would say. I'll see you online. Thank you.